Hey there, how is it going? Oh, gotta echo. There we go. Sorry about that. I personally am having a little technical issue this morning. It's not StreamYard, it's me. And hey there, how's it going? My name is Kevin Colby, and this is another edition of Ask StreamYard. Look, it's a very simple concept. Every Wednesday, got just a little bit. There we go. Every Wednesday, we tackle a question that one of you have asked in the community. So if you ever have a question and you would really like it maybe to be featured on the show, like today, we've got two questions, but they're kind of all about the same thing. And so we're going to be sharing both of those questions. If you ever have a question, though, that you think, hey, might be something that I think the community should know about and maybe StreamYard can help me with, use hashtag Ask StreamYard wherever you ask it, anywhere on social media, and especially the Facebook group, the community, Twitter, wherever. And if we feature your question on Ask StreamYard, you get a really cool StreamYard t-shirt. It may not look exactly like this one, but it's pretty cool too. So wherever you're watching from today, we are so excited you are here. Already in the house, we got Place of Voice, Rosaling, Rudy, RC, Kayla, I think, Little Miss Marco says, hey, absolutely love some StreamYard. Brian, a lot of folks checking in. Love to have you there. So if you have any questions today specific to what we're talking about, how the best way to show images during your broadcast, then let me know. I'm full disclosure. I was trying to do a little behind the scenes right before the live stream, and I could not get that working. So I'm gonna show some best practices and things like that. And if you guys like this a lot, we may come back with another video for it. But again, we do this every Wednesday. My friend Melanie, Melanie, I'm just going to go there, and how we'll do next Wednesday. And again, if you have any questions, all you got to do is hashtag Ask StreamYard, and we'll tackle them. So here's a couple of the questions that came in that sparked this today. And one was this one from Stephen Presley. He asked this question: is there a suggestion on the best way to display images during streams without losing overlays in the process? Is there a best way to display images during the stream without losing overlays in the process? That's a great question, because I mean, I'll be honest, most of the time when I'm streaming, I'm either sharing like graphics or things like that. Like that is a graphic, it's an overlay. And then a lot of times I'm sharing videos and things like that. And there's really a couple of ways we can do it. And I'm going to show you, and I apologize again. I was going to take you behind the scenes and show you my dashboard, and I was having some issues this morning with it. So I'm going to show you the best way I can, including taking you into Canva, which is what I use. But we also had a second question, and this is from Matthew Lyman. And he says, hi. Always love that. I am learning how to screen share. Video sharing is easy. However, I want to be able to take a photo or any other content and share it using one monitor. And when I do screen sharing, it mirrors what is on the screen. Any suggestions would be helpful. Matthew, that is a great question. So we've got t-shirts going out to Matthew and to Stephen for their great questions for that. Screen sharing can be tricky sometimes if you haven't done it a lot. The great thing about StreamYard is there's different ways you can do it. You can share your window, you can share a tab, you can share a whole another part of it. So you can also video file, and that's one of the things that I think Matthew was talking about. Video sharing is easy because at the bottom of your dashboard in StreamYard, you have options like mute, stop camera, camera mic, and share. And when you click on share, what's happening is it gives you two options: video file and screen share. So like right now, if I share my screen, I'll do it, and you're going to just see some funkiness going on, but I'm going to show you what's going to happen, right? So I'm going to do this and get ready. Let me see what happens if oh, that ain't bad. So right now, obviously you're looking at my dashboard right there. I'm wondering if I just stop my camera, if that would help. No, not really. So if you see all of this right here, there's the question. So that's the overlay. And again, I apologize for the time tunnel. That'll kind of date me a little on it. The time tunnel vertigo effect. But just imagine that when I go to that, that's what it's looking like, right? And so this is a way you can do some things. So like right now, I'm going to go back to this. So now here's a way you can show a photo, show an image, and I'm gonna show it to you just raw, and that way you'll see it'll work. But I don't think this is what you want to do. So here's a photo of it's a shoot I was on with a silversmith. So if I just bring the photo in, and I can do that, I can add that to the overlays. And it's a JPEG. It can be a PNG. It doesn't really matter. In fact, this one, I wonder, maybe I should have this one. I'm so used to using PNGs, and I'll tell you why. Because if you do a PNG and you do it as a transparent background, what happens is it removes that background. But you see me in the background, right? Now, here's the same picture in Canva with a background. And that's just a simple background that I found, and I blurred it and knocked down the brightness just a little. You could use your colors and things like that. I could also go back to here, and I could use it's one of those things when the host is having the technical difficulties. I apologize for that. So again, I don't think this is what you want. I think this is what you want. These questions are on backgrounds that are created that way. So let me show you a couple of different ways that you can do, because I know people have also asked about slideshows. How do you bring in slideshows and things like that? Uh-oh, somebody's already given me the bad emoji. Somebody played around with a green screen last night. And remember, if you have any questions specifically about this, ask that. So here we go. I am going to share my screen. I'm going to get out of that. And what I want to do is take you into Canva. Now, you may not use Canva. I'm a huge Canva fan. I use Canva for thumbnails. I use Canvas for presentations. I use Canva for everything I do for logos. To me, it is so easy to use. And this is not an advertisement for Canva. There are other programs out there you can use. I use it to remove backgrounds. I use it for a lot of different things. So that's what I want to show you. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's go to Canva right here. Now, you should be able to, oops, there we go. I want to add this to stream. Now, let me go back to, so when you go to Canva, this is what you're going to get. And I should have broken that tab off, but we're going to leave it as it is. So if you notice this right here, so when you go to Canva, you're going to have an opportunity to design something. So what I'm going to show you right now is that if you have Canva or any type of program like this, how easy it is to create like a slideshow. Now, what I'm going to show you for the images, you could use for anything. Again, I use Canva for my presentations. I build my presentations in there. And then you have the option to export and do a lot of different things. So you're going to see that in just a minute. So again, this is my Canva account. You're going to see things in there, but I'll show you exactly what I created for today's broadcast. So if you go to Canva, when you go to Canva, you have the option to create a design. Now, I've already created this design. Oh, look at that. It's It's a puppy show. Hey, look, who doesn't like puppies, right? So right now, this was very easy to do. It's just 5 pictures, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I made this, how simple it is. And the beauty with Canva is that you can actually, oops, did you not? Oh, you know what? You didn't see that, did you? So let me. I just realized that. Let me change to. I apologize for that. I think this is the one I want right there. Now, there we go. There we go. So this is a presentation I did. Again, I'm going to show you how to make this. It's very simple. It's very simple. But if you look at the puppies here, there's 5 pages. There's nothing special about this. I just put this together quickly to show you what you could do. So while I'm in that page, let me see if I can. I've got too many windows open here. I need to close that, and I need to close. Oh, I want to keep that one open. So I'm going to do one more thing here on the fly. Bear with me one second. I'm going to break that off, and then that's how we'll do it. All right. So stop screen share. We're going to share. We're going to go here, and we're going to go to window. This is a way I do it a lot. So here we go. So right now, you're in my Canva account, right? And when you go to Canva, again, this is the presentation I created for today. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways you can use this, right? So when you go to Canva, if you have like a slide presentation, create design. Now I love this. The first thing that pops up is presentation, and the presentation dimension is 1920 by 1080, which is exactly like 16 by 9. I always start there. Even if I'm creating like a lower third or something like that, I would always rather just start with the full screen, and then you can reshape it how you want. So let me change my view here so you can see a little bit more. All right. So again, how I made the puppy one was very simple. So here again is the one I made for today, right? So let's say you're doing a slideshow and you would have your own slides. I mean, so these are pictures I've uploaded. I could easily add in pictures of, there's me. Again, I use it for thumbnails and stuff like that. So the image isn't that important. Now, you may have an image that you haven't uploaded, and you can just drag it right into this window. Very, very easy. So, but let's say, and this is one of the things I love about Canva. So let's say you wanted to do one on running and workouts, right? So here's a great picture of a person running. Now that quickly, it's in there, and you can do whatever you want to it. But again, you want to add more pictures. Add a page and add, let's say this one. Very important. I don't run, but as what I understand, you have to tie your shoes, right? And we're just going to add like 2 or 3 pictures. Add a page. Now, again, if you don't need multiple, if you're not looking for multiple images, that's okay. You could just do one like the one I showed you at the beginning, and you'd be fine. So, but let's add one more image. Let me go back full screen. Let me add one more image for this one, and we'll do a guy running up a hill. And again, you have the option of, you don't have to do a picture per. You can do different ones. And looks like Christian wants to join me here in just a second. And so what you can do is, let's say you want a background here. Let's say you don't want the white background. You can come to background and you have all these options. So for now, I use gradient a lot. Let's just use dark blue. See what happens? You can use different backgrounds for different ones. It doesn't matter. You could use the same one if you wanted. So now that we've built this, I have different ways of presenting it. And this is what I love about Canva. And this is exactly what I did here. But we'll use this one that I just built. You can do present. And when you do present, you have different options. So if I do standard, it takes it full screen. Don't want to do that. What I want to do is, and you can also save it off here. So here's the other thing that's really nice is that, so if you go to save this off to use it inside your, if you go to save this off to use it inside StreamYard, what I would do is when you get to this point right here, and now my mouse has disconnected. So you ever have one of those days when just, here we go. I think the mouse is back, says it was lost, and just enjoy that picture of the runner. Oh man, my mouse is dead. What are you going to do next? Here we go. Nope. Connected. There we go. So when you go to download it, you have different options. You can download the different ways. But again, we want to download this as a presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and download it. And you can save it wherever. You can bring it in wherever. But one of the nice things is, though, all right, we'll call this running. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to save it to the desktop. It doesn't matter really where you save it, how you save it. But you can also present from here as well. Now, again, when you present, you have different options here, but you can actually present this straight from here. And in fact, one of them is you can actually do as a website, you can embed it. So you have a lot of different options. But now that you've seen what we did, I'm going to get out of that mode. And Christian, if you do want to join. Okay. So am I adding that? Nope, I'm not. So you saw what we just made, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and I'm going to add that to, well, let me show you a different way you can do that. So this is what I really, really like. So I'm going to shut that down. So one way that you can add images to it, and I think this is again another strength of StreamYard, is you open a new tab. So again, I'm using Chrome. I think StreamYard works better with Chrome. I'm just a Chrome user. Open a tab. Let me close that. Open a tab, and literally, I'm going to drag the running PDF into it. And now watch what happens. So when I do this, stop sharing screen, and I go to share, one of my options will be Chrome tab. And if I do running, you should see it right there. So if I add to stream, now, if you notice, you can see what we just created, right? But maybe you don't want all of that stuff on there. So one of the things you can do is do present. And you notice what happened. It immediately removed all of the things at the front and the end, but I still have control over it. And again, I could go full screen. So if we were talking about running, and then I'm using arrow down and back on my keyboard. You could scroll. But if you notice, I think that is a really easy way. And then you still have the option of changing the view as well. I still have full control over it. So we can be talking and I can be saying, make sure you lace your shoes before you run up the hill. I'm not a runner. But this is a way that I think is easy to add images. So you have the option of creating an image. You can go to a source like Canva, put it on a background, and that's what I would suggest. If I go back to this picture here, it's literally, in fact, here, let me just show you that. Let me, I want to stop that. I'm going to go back here, and let me show you that one more time and just show you how to quickly just do a, so I'm going to go here. So this again is, you were in my Canva account, right? So this was the picture I just showed you. This is nothing more than that. So let me show you how you can do that. If you, again, go to home, make sure we're on the right page, go to home, create design, go to presentation. And again, even if you're not going to create a presentation, the presentation gives you the exact same dimension of your 16 by 9, which is landscape, which is what you want to create for. So, and again, I'm going to show you how I just did what I did. So it's a video that or image that I already had in here. But even if I didn't have this image in here, it's on my desktop. I'm going to take it and just drag it in and bang. Now, if you notice right here, it's in there again. So Canva doesn't say, oh, you've already got that image. I can do with it whatever I want. I can resize it. I can crop it in. I can leave it the way it is. I can slant it. It doesn't really matter. We'll do that just to be different. Go to background. Recently used, even though I know I used abstract. So this was the background. And if you notice, it immediately puts it back there. But I want to show you the difference. If you notice, it's blurred right here, right? Well, if I go back here, click on the background, you go up to adjust and blur. And however you blur it is up to you. I mean, you could really blur it out. And I find this works if you've got a background that has a lot of images in it, has a lot of texture, has a lot of color. You might want to blur it. You can mess with the saturation. You can actually change it. Now, actually, X process will change that too. Tint would also change it. We're going to go back and reset all this. Blur it a little. Take the darkness down. You've also got other effects you can add as well. You could make it black and white. And again, you would go back. And if you want to adjust it more. So again, you have so many options in here. And then when you're done, I'll just call this test pick. You can export it, and it's going to default to PDF because Canva thinks we're creating a presentation, right? So you can do any of these. Again, I usually save it off as a PNG because it's a higher quality. If you notice 1920, let me go back to this. If you notice 1920 by 1080, that's already the size I need it. I don't need to do a transparent background now because I've put the image on a background. I'm going to, it's downloading right now. You can see it. It'll take a second. We're just going to save it to my desktop. It doesn't really matter. And then here's what happens. When I get here, I'm going to go to my overlay. I'm going to bring it in. We called it test pick. And it takes very, very quick to upload. And it's uploading the overlay. And you'll see exactly what I just made. And that's how easy it is to create something. Now, again, if you don't have Canva, you can do anything else you want. So, hey, Christian, did you want to jump in? I'm bringing in.
How are we doing?
Christian. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Well, other than my behind the scenes tech issues.
I actually I don't know what tech issues we're talking about. I didn't see any
Good,
actually. So,
good.
So what can I was going through the comments actually. Lots of good comments here from everybody. I hope everybody's learning or enjoying this episode of Ask StreamYard on displaying images when you're live streaming. This is a question I think, Kevin, I think you mentioned. We get a ton of questions on this. A lot of people want to know how do they like, and there's different ways to solve this challenge. So, sharing images, for example, or making presentations and sharing those as well. So Kevin, I want to bring you back in. And, if you got some time here, like, so do you want to go through like some of the comments that are here?
Yes. And again, before I dive in, I'm a Canva user. Now Canva has a free plan if you want to check it out. And again, this isn't that Canva's not sponsored by StreamYard. It's just, it's another application. There's other ones out there. Christian, you probably know of some too.
Yep.
But on the free plan of Canva, you can do a lot, but it's somewhat limited. So like you can't download a PNG with a transparent background.
Right.
Some things like that. So there's some things like that. Like somebody's saying there's a free picture editor like Photoshop called Pixlr. Pixlr, I've actually heard of. I think it's pretty good. So let me see, going through here.
So while you're going through the comments, yeah, I'll rattle off some names. So you've got
Okay.
Canva. So you've got the free version of Canva. You got the paid version. It's also super inexpensive, by the way, because you have to think about it. It's not just a one-time use product. You're going to use it for the entire calendar year, for example, whether you're making your social media graphics, your thumbnails for your live streams, your presentations, putting your images into your live streams. You want to make a countdown timer. You can also do that with the Canva paid account,
Yeah.
for example. There's also Easel as well for creating those graphics. There's also, let's see. So if you're on a Mac, you've got Apple Keynote. That's included with pretty much every iOS device, iPhone, iPad,
Yeah.
and your Mac.
There's Google Slides.
There's Google Slides, yeah.
Google Slides, and that was another one that
Pixlr is the one you mentioned.
yeah.
That's a Photoshop alternative. It's a very good Photoshop alternative.
I mean, the nice thing is
yeah.
there's free options out there to do this. And I know the initial question too was about screen sharing, and that is one way to do it. Like the way I showed you how you could literally, you open another tab, you just drop and it doesn't even have to be a presentation. I just did several photos because I think sometimes folks may want to cycle through things. Like if you're a photographer, if you have a photography business and a photographer background, even, I mean, let's just say wedding photography, what a great way to showcase, do a live stream or use StreamYard just to do your video and go to your photos and show your photos, show a behind the scenes of your wedding.
Yeah.
And that could be huge.
Well, and also within Google Slides, I'll throw out another idea here. I mean, I think you were showing like you could, so basically if you want to share a bunch of images, you can add each image into a Google Chrome tab. You just open a new Google Chrome tab and drag your image in. I think you showed that, right, Kevin?
Yes. Yeah.
So you can, that's one easy way to do it. Now, obviously you'd have to share one slide and then you use the share feature, turn it on, turn it off. The other thing you can do is you can do the share window, which would share everything that people could see. It basically can see everything that you have open, and you could just have individual tabs and go between those. You also, though, could, you could go into the option as Kevin showed there. You can make that in Canva. When you put it in Canva, then you can actually download it as, for example, a PDF, and you could either drag that to a new browser tab, and now you have a PDF that you can just page through with, for example, your arrow keys on your computer. The other thing also, if you're using, like, you can even use Google Slides, as you mentioned. And then what's cool about Google Slides is that you actually, if you want to, you could even turn it into a movie. So you could add each of your images as an individual slide. And then there's an export option when you go into Google Slides. It says file, and then let me actually find it.
Actually, you know what? I can show that. So
yeah, let's show that.
If you remember back earlier, you were watching the puppy slide thing that I'd thrown together, because again, who doesn't like puppies?
Yeah.
So I actually exported that. And again, here, let me just show this because I think it's important. Let me go back here.
Sure.
Let me share my screen one more time, because I don't want to just blow through this and you not be able to see it. So one of the things that you can do in Canva is you can export anything as a movie, like Christian was saying. So here was the puppy slideshow I put together. And again, it could just be one, right? Well, when you go to export right here, you have the option of movie.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk over something, and what it's going to do is it's going to tell you, yep, it's going to save all 5 and it's going to download it, and it downloads it as an MP4, which is a format that StreamYard uses. So since I've already done that, I'm going to go back to this. So I'd already downloaded the puppies, and I've got it, and here it is. And I have it in my video clips. And as we're talking, it's automatically going to be playing through that. Now, I could have adjusted the length. I just left it that way. So if we were talking about, never let your dog paint, because look at all the problems. Always make sure your puppy has a stuffed animal at the end of the day. And remember, just smile when the world just makes lemons or lemonades or whatever that is. And what happened is it plays just like another video would play. So that's another option that you can do. Again, you could literally, now this is a little higher level, like I edit in Final Cut Pro. Well, you could literally create a slideshow in there if you want, add
Mhm.
music to it, export it as a video, and as long as you convert it to MP4, or you can use the screen share to roll the video, then you could also do that and narrate over it.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a way to animate your photos, if you will. And Canva has a lot of little tricks like that too. So, like,
Yep.
for example, if I go back to my Canva again, we'll go back to the puppy ones, right? If you notice right here,
Mhm.
animate. Well, I could easily it'll notice how it changes how the photos react.
Mhm.
So again, I could now if you see the little crown here, that just means that that's the premium plan. But I'm on that, so I have that. So we'll use stomp. Now
Okay.
it doesn't necessarily, and I'm gonna do a different one on each one. It should work here. We'll use tumble, and we'll use this one as fade. And so what happens is when you export this out, it'll have all of those animations in it.
Mhm.
So that is another way that you can take a static image, add some animation. And by the way, the animation will work just for graphics too. So if I had a picture of the puppy and then I wanted to say, always tuck your puppy in with its stuffed animal as text and then go to the photo, you could do that again. So that's just another way of using it that way. And I know, Christian, you mentioned Apple Keynote. I don't use it, even though I'm a Mac guy. I don't use Apple Keynote that much, but I know that
Right.
it animations, it will do reveals. Um, and I think, guys, the one thing I would recommend is that if you don't know where to start, but you've got Google, start with Google Slides. It's free. There's so many things you can do.
Yeah. Well, and that's the part that I wanted to actually like that I wanted to let people know about is that so for example, if you're using Google Slides, sorry, if you don't want to pay for Canva, for example, like yeah, you can look at if you're an iOS user, look at Apple Keynote, for example. If you're not an Apple Keynote user, go check out Google Slides, for example. Again, free option. There are some add-ons that they have as well for turning some of these things into certain features. Um, but yeah, lots there. By the way, I've got a weird thing going on with my mouse. Give me 1 second.
This must be bad mouse day. My mouse actually died. It's one of the things I run into.
So let's see if this works actually. So there's a comment. Oh, that's
Rebel is
weird.
asking while you're looking, how do you play the video and talk at the same time? We just showed that, and I'll show you again. I won't play the whole thing, but again, right now I just
So
click it and it's scrolling through. But this would work for any kind of video. You just make sure your mic is not muted, and therefore you can talk over it. And if you don't want to go through the whole thing, so let's say you had a loop.
so hold on. So let me go back one step. So you made this presentation in Canva. You
Yes,
exported it as a
as a
PDF,
movie.
a movie. Okay, as a movie. And
Yep.
then how did you bring it into StreamYard?
Under the video clip section,
Okay.
which is also where we have our countdowns.
Yeah.
So that's again, the countdowns live under video clips. I just added it because once you export it as an MP4 as a movie clip from Canva or any program, it sees it as video. And then I upload it to there.
Let me do this. Let me actually log into the account actually, and I'm gonna bring up that screen so people can see that.
Okay.
Let me just get that real quick. Because this way they can see where you're actually putting this. Let's see.
Yeah, and somebody's even saying, yeah, as long as your mic is on, you can keep talking. That's just one of the things. When you go to a movie or a full screen like that, just make sure your mic is on.
No, absolutely. Actually, let's see. So, okay. So
All
you're going to
right.
see. Having all sorts of tech issues today, actually. So Kevin, okay. So I went into, so basically, okay. So I'll share my screen here, and then that way people can see what this is going to look like.
I'm going to go solo so they can see it better.
Okay, so let me actually go ahead and share this screen here so you can see this. This is essentially what Kevin wanted to show everyone. Okay, so basically, this is the dashboard. Here we go. So, actually, is that the wrong one? Oh, that's the wrong one. Let me get the right one, actually. Sorry about that.
I would like this to be a great example of live streaming that,
Here you go.
you know, as long as your information is good, things happen sometimes. Like my mouse going, but you just have to roll with it too. Hopefully the information is something you guys are using.
Okay, so let's tell viewers. Okay, so you made the presentation in Canva. We
Made the
then
presentation in Canva.
went into brands over here on the right hand side.
Yep. Yep.
And then we went under video clips and we uploaded the video right here.
Yep.
Right?
So I tell you what, while you're in there, let me do this.
Sure.
I'm going to delete it.
Okay.
And you'll see it go away. And now I'm going to add it. And so you'll see right here, it says puppies MP4. Again, doesn't matter really what you call it. And you're going to see it. I don't know if you have to refresh, but it's adding. And it'll take.
There you go.
There you go. And there you go.
Yeah, so that's how easy it is. And then if I want to bring it in, I just click on it to bring it in.
Yep. And we can talk over it. And the thing about this that you also need to know is the length of it. It may take longer. Again, this is just one way to do it. But if you're in Canva and you're already making things, oh man, it just makes it so simple. So simple. And I'm going to take it out. And then this was the one we made just a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice, it's right here. Here we go. So for a simple graphic, one way you could do is you literally just add it to the overlay section.
Mm-hmm.
So Christian, you're running that, right? That's why
I am.
okay.
Yes.
Yep. So if you notice the sample pick right here, this is the first one I did, but this is the one we made together. Test pick.
Okay.
Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
So test pick is the one we made in Canva. And again, you may only have one photo. If you only have one photo, it may make more sense just to do it this way. But you can also open another tab and add it that way as well. You have a lot of options and you're not just married to one. I would recommend, like our questions, that you put your image over some kind of background. So like right now, if I click this, you see everything because it wasn't exported, it was exported as a PNG with a transparent background as opposed to. And then here's a little just bonus tip. If you notice, let me show you. So if you notice this difference, I mean, that photo from that photo. Yeah. So maybe taking your photo and just adding a little angle to it. Little creative things you can do to kind of spice up your video, like on the running one we showed you earlier. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can go back just a little and watch that. We changed the color of the background on each photo, but you could add texture back there. You could do different things. You can add motion to it. But what I find sometimes and again, I'm just going to show the difference from a straight on and slightly angled, even the background, we stripped out the color, we made it blurry. And by just taking that photo and just changing it a little, you add a little dynamic to it. So Cindy saying she loves this. Glad. Can I share YouTube videos in this way? You can. You would just go to YouTube and open up that in another window. I would, depending on what you're sharing. I mean, I've done that on my shows that I've shared other videos that way. It's really, really easy. Somebody says, spice it up. Yeah. Use Canva for thumbnails. I did see the video option. Wasn't sure it would be for the thumbnail. Yeah. So again, we can do a deeper dive into another video, another Ask StreamYard or another video on the channel about different ways you can use Canva. I mean, Canva, again, I just use it for everything. I build my presentations in there. I build my logos in there. I build my photos in there. One of the things that I do a lot on my live streams on my channel is I create what's called lower thirds, or I create like split screens. And so like I'll put like a split screen graphic right here, and then I just kind of step over as I pop that in, and then I step back. So I kind of know where to place it. That's again the beauty of creating in Canva from a 19 or from a 1920 by 1080 landscape, because you're already in the landscape. In fact, if you look at Christian's shot and mine, you'll notice even within this 19, even within the 16 by 9 rather landscape, we're both in that same landscape, and that's why it fits so perfectly.
Yeah. So let's do this. Let's go through a couple of comments, by the way, that are here.
Yep.
Let me just shoot through a couple of these actually. So let's see. So Little Miss Macro Fitness was asking, would love to know how to share photos and documents. So with photos, if it's a single photo, for example, I know we said you could just drop that into a Chrome tab, share that Chrome tab. Alternatively, you can use Google Slides, Canva, PowerPoint, Apple Keynote, Pixlr, however you want. You build basically a presentation, just drop your images in, and then you can share that one document during your live stream broadcast. For example, if it's a PDF, you can also, a PDF that's a presentation or even a video, you can just download that and put that into a tab. Or if it's like a video, you could put it into the video clip section under brands, or you can use the share long form video option as well at the bottom, either option. If it's a document, I would recommend, I think if it were me, if I were sharing a document, I'd either use the share feature and do share application, or I would consider dragging the document into the browser tab and see if that, because I don't know what kind of document you want to share, but that might be the best way, I think, to share that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. I mean, the beauty is the first time you do it, if you've never opened another tab in Chrome and just drug something from your desktop, whether it's a photo or a document or whatever in there, and then all of a sudden realize, oh man, I've done that before, where I've done a screenshot of something that I want to highlight. I drag it over there, and then I use a tool. I forgot what it is exactly. I forgot the name of it is now, where you can draw on screen, and then I'll do another screenshot of that, or I can use that as a tutorial. And it's just, it's a nice way of doing that. A couple of people are saying, no editing, we do it live. And that is so smart to do it that way, can save time. Somebody else is saying that they load all their intros and outros and all my segments here. I'll just put that one on screen.
Yeah, let's bring that up.
That they load all their intros and outros and all the segments in there, bunch of memes and photos overlay, being able to produce a show on the fly with no editing. And a lot of times that's what I will do on my shows on Fridays. That if I did one recently on YouTube guidelines, some new ones. And so I created the graphics in Canva and I loaded them in there. And that way I'm just kind of producing it, as you say, live as you're going. And you've got to produce video when it's over. You could do the same thing with images, same thing.
Yeah. And, kind of to respond to that also, I mean, you want to make sure also that you have essentially a run of show. So this is a little more advanced topic, but it's where you have a step-by-step about what comes up on screen at what time during your broadcast. So for example, if you're just doing like some one-off images, okay, but you still need to plan out when those are going to be brought up into your show so you can have them prepared ahead of time. Key thing is preparation. It's not about doing this on the fly. It's about having the images prepared and sized properly to bring them into your broadcast. So you are going to want to try to work ahead.
I'm just throwing this out because Melanie will be on next week, and she
Definitely.
just approved the Canva.
Awesome. Yeah. And there's some other good questions in here as well, by the way. Let me see.
Yeah, and somebody mentioned using their iPad. Now, this is an app I don't know about. I use a lovely, easy app. I use an iPad called Union. I'm actually going to check that out. That's pretty cool. I know there is another app called, Photor? I think it's
there's tons of apps. Yep. Pixelmator,
or something like that. That's got a ton of free features on there. But you know what John is talking about is also you can connect your iPad, your phone as another screen. And I know one of the questions that this came from was using one screen, and I don't know, maybe Christian on another episode we do maybe this isn't an Ask StreamYard, but or I could do it on my channel, do a more behind the scenes of my setup. I think you and I have talked about that. I have one screen. I have one monitor. So I'm moving things around. I'm opening other windows. That's typically why when I go into screen share, one of the options I use is window instead of Chrome tab, because it allows me to kind of, if you imagine, will move your windows around, because you can, even though you open new tabs in Chrome, you can always, what I always call them, break it off and move them around. Which to me is easy to do. So for example, I've got now Canva open on another tab that I've broken off from that. So if I were to go to screen share and click on window and I do add to stream, there it is. And then from there you can, I can emphasize me if I wanted to, and this would work for anything in that window. So this would work for, in fact, it should have done that. And we were talking about a second ago how you could, here, we'll do the running PDF again since we made that. And just like that, you can see it. But if you don't want all that information here, these three little dots right at the top, you can change to present. Well, that's one way you can do it. You can also change to two-page view. Oops. Actually, no, that's not. Maybe it's annotations. Nope. Well, now I can't figure it out. But the idea is, see, this one is an option I don't like because it filled my screen, my one screen. So, but there is a way. I just all of a sudden it should have been working there. But this is a way you can drag it into there, and then you have full capability. Now, the one advantage to doing this is, and you can go up and you can do things like I can hide my bookmarks, do different things. What I would recommend, and Christian, see if you agree, is I would just play around with it. I would do a test. Today I didn't have a chance to do a run through of the show, but I always like to do a quick run through, have tabs open, have windows open, have graphics uploaded, and that way when it comes time to it, it's kind of like your run of show, if you will, which you can depart from. But that way it's like, okay, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here. And since I'm using one monitor, I don't ever like to fill the monitor where I can't see anything going on. I always like to know that oh, yep, it's being seen. So,
yeah. By the way, answer a couple other questions. By the way, this one's sort of off topic a little bit. Ro is asking about being able to have chat on screen and space for more guests and virtual audio. So like, I noted that as a feature request to see if we could have a view for chat. In terms of integrating audio, your system audio, you can go into your, like, you can use like additional tools for that will let you route your audio differently. So for example, you may want to check out like a tool called Loopback, which will let you route your system audio and some of your certain applications into your StreamYard broadcast. What else what other questions do we have here, Kevin, that you're seeing?
Well, John is saying that he uses, for any show, I create a storyboard to plan the show on Google Sheets. Great idea. I plan out video clips and photos and run the storyboard as a second screen through the show, so I know what's next. Yeah, and that's a great idea. That's a great idea, John. I know several people didn't know that you could actually run a video and narrate over it. Again, it could be a loop. You have so many options like that. Try to see.
I'm making a couple of notes here, by the way. Some people have put in a couple of feature requests, so I want to thank you all for those. Let's see.
Okay. So John is saying, I use Fonto. I think that's correct, but it needs more effort than Unia. Fonto, I know I've had that before on my phone.
Mhm.
And there are great apps on your phone that you can create. Excuse me, you can create graphics and things like that. We're talking about images now. I mean, here's the way we didn't discuss it, but literally, I mean, you could use your iPhone or your Android if you're one of those people. But I'm an iPhone user. You could use your iPhone and literally plug it in and use that as a source and just show the images that way. That's really raw, and you might want to make sure those are all the images you want to show. So somebody was asking about documents early. Is that I do think there's a point of planning. Like I showed you, I mean, you saw my Canva. There's nothing in there. I don't care anybody seeing. But if I
Mhm.
was going to show a document, I probably wouldn't take you to my Google Drive and Google Documents. I'd probably save that off and do that. Just you want to be careful because it's always out there on the web.
Definitely, yeah.
Somebody saying Android is fine. I know. I'm just messing with you. I love my iPhone.
No, all good. No,
Um,
I would, yeah, I would have said the same thing actually, because I'm a big iOS user. I do like Android as well, but I do find some things are a little bit more
yeah,
easier.
yeah, and some of you guys have asked questions and you've made some recommendations that Christian's noting in here that don't really pertain with what we're talking about today, but they're things that can go back to the StreamYard folks going, oh, here's something to think about.
I
Yeah,
do have
and then
a question here for
Stuart's got a
yeah,
good.
yeah.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry, good to you can create a slide video and share it from your desktop. The way you can pause between slides. Yep, that's another
Mhm.
option. You know, what I'm hoping from this one today, despite some of the hiccups we've had with me and the tech, is that it's going to inspire you to go, oh wow, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about it. Could add that. Play around. One of the things I was going to say a second ago is that I like to sometimes run through shows ahead of time. Sometimes I do just a quick record and then I watch it back. And that way I'm testing different ways of doing things. Maybe you didn't know you could hook up your iPad and use it. Well, now you do. Maybe you didn't know you could use Canva that way. Now you do. Maybe you didn't know, like even Stuart was suggesting that, you could run a slide video and then pause it in the way and narrate over it. So, I think it's about playing and finding out what kind of fits you in your show, and then let StreamYard just kind of be the tool that helps you do that.
Yeah, and I want to address a couple other comments here. By the way, I'm all the way back at like Rich Buddy's got some comments about sharing stock trading screens, for example, or luxury fine goods. The details are vague and blurry. Like part of that's going to come down to your monitor, but part of it also is going to come down to like the quality of the image that somebody has
Yeah,
taken as well. So, for example, if you're sharing an image for the web, for the most part, those are actually scaled down because they don't want high resolution files on the web. And so the reason it may not look as good, for example, is because a lot of that data is not stored in the image. So then you're like, oh, well, let me take a screenshot or let me download it. You're not actually necessarily getting the full image either. You're
yeah.
getting what they want to give you access to. So that could very well be a reason why you're not getting a sharp image in that sense. Um,
And let me
yeah.
throw something out too about just grabbing images. I would strongly, strongly, strongly discourage you from just Googling images and using them. There's a copyright issue. You may know that, but there's sites you can go to, like Canva has a deal with Unsplash.
Mhm.
Excuse me,
Actually, I
and
think they
Unsplash.
do they own Unsplash, actually? They bought
No,
a
they don't
few
actually.
companies.
Unsplash was recently bought by Getty, so we'll
Do
see
they?
if they
Okay.
continue to be free. But Unsplash is one of those sites where you can just go and it's almost like you're at a at a gallery.
Mhm.
Images are free, but a lot of programs like Canva have now built in, like WordPress even has done a deal with either it's Petapixel or somebody where images are built in. So I would always recommend you, if you can shoot your own images, like the image I showed earlier of the shoot I was on, with the overhead rig. That's my image, so I know it's okay. But I think a lot of folks feel like, well, I can just go to the web and grab an image. You're really kind of playing with fire and copyright issues, and so make sure you're grabbing your images, if they're not yours, from someplace that either you've paid a subscription for, Storyblocks or Soundstripe or all these other ones, or that you have the rights to use. Somebody said Google presentation works well. Yeah. 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 I
Let's
mean,
see what else we have here.
Google's pretty cool when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah, Going the Green Mile saying they use Pixabay. That's
I think
another
that's
good one.
actually I think that's owned by Canva now. Actually, I think
Interesting.
that they
And
bought
maybe that's what
a
they,
few
yeah,
of these companies. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
By the way, can you take Anita's question here,
yeah. Let
Kevin? Her
me.
question is, can you make an overlay with free Canva about saving in a PNG?
So what I would recommend, Anita, no. So you have to have the paid plan of Canva to export as a PNG with with a transparent background, but you can make it as a JPEG and export it that way, or a PNG without a transparent background. So, I tell you what, do you want to do this quick? We do another quick share.
That's fine. Yeah.
I'll show you this because that is a great question. So, if we were to add to stream, so again, you're back in mine. Again, I'm in the paid plan, right? But if I was going to create a design, I'm just going to do this very quick on the fly. Photos. These are the ones that they have. Let's do flying. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. So we're going to leave this white right now. I tell you what. Let's give it a background. We'll go to landscapes. We'll do clouds because why not? Right. Again, don't judge me on if this is good. But so we're going to put kid wings, right? Again, just something so I know later I can. So again, because we create it as a presentation, it's going to show PDF. You can do it as a JPEG, and you can change the size. But this is really the size we want, and this is where you can change the quality.
Okay.
Now it's going to get bigger when you do that, and as long as this little crown isn't there, you should be able to do it. So that's one way. But we're going to go back here and go to PNG. And if you notice, I could be wrong about this, but I believe you can download as a PNG just without, and see, there it is right there, without having the paid account. But I'm also going to go back and I'm going to download it as a JPEG. I'm just going to leave all this alone. There may be an issue and you see it right here. And so right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to add both of those to as an overlay. And there's the Kids Wing JPEG, and it's uploading. And there's the Kids Wing PNG. And again, this might be a workaround, Anita, if you have, or for anybody that has the free account.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the one as, I think that was the PNG. And there's the one as the JPEG. And again, you may go, that's a horrible background. Remember, this was for demo only. But there are some things you can do in Canva with the free. So that's what I would recommend. Now, again, if you wanted it as a PNG with a transparent background, you're going to have to pay for that. There's a background removal in there. You have to pay for that. So like you could have taken this really cool picture of this kid, and you could have removed the background on that. So you can even remove the background on photos that come with Canva to do cool things. So you might have wanted to take that and say have the kid with the wings cut out over, a blue sky or something. You could do that to enhance your presentation. You have just so many options on here. So I hope that answered your question.
And, off of that as well, Kevin, I think the other point to make there is, like, if you're going to use the tool for more than one thing, for example, if you're just using it to bring in a few images, like, yeah, maybe you only want to use the tool. Like maybe you don't need the paid version, but if you're somebody who wants to, for example, like say you want to cut out people in an image, Canva has a tool built in, which normally costs money as a separate tool, but it's built into your subscription. So you're not just getting like one basic design tool. And as NLTMW also suggests, by the way, and I use this tool as well, Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer as well. Those are Photoshop alternatives, Photoshop and Illustrator alternatives. They're one-time purchases, but those also can get the job done. But those are designed for, like, if you want to learn Photoshop, if you want the easier way,
Yeah.
Canva, for example,
Yeah.
to build a presentation.
I mean, and somebody mentioned they use Adobe Spark. I saw pop up in there. The program, I mean, again, I'm a Canva user. I love Canva. Before I used Canva, I used PicMonkey, and PicMonkey is a great program. And PicMonkey has come a long, excuse me, a long way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get hung up on the program. I would find one that works for you. You may want to save the money and just use Google or Keynote or PowerPoint. PowerPoint, as long as you can find something that you can add a photo to, an image to. I say photos a lot, but it may just be an image, a logo of your business or something
Mhm.
like that. These are some ways you can do that. And somebody's asking, and this might be a great one for a different one. I'm just going to throw this up there. Can you give us some stuff on how to make
Suggestions
effective
for sure.
thumbnails, like solid color background, multicolor typos, and things like that? I think that's a great topic for probably another one. In fact,
Actually,
I
we
you know
have
what? It just hit me. Go ahead. Yeah,
we have Learn with StreamYard coming up on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're actually going to talk about creating thumbnails.
with our good friend Eddie Garrison.
Yeah.
Eddie's really good. So that was a timely question and a great way to plug another StreamYard show.
Let me actually do this. I'll get the link to that show so I can drop that in the comments.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going through some of these because it looks like there's some really good questions and comments from people. So, let's see. Feel free to bring these up, by the way, Kevin, while I do the other, while I get this link.
Well, somebody said, and again, this is more to how StreamYard works. How are you adding comments to your screen with the person on top and their comment underneath in two different colors? Mine comes up with the person's name comment all together on one tab. That's in the brand. So what is built into StreamYard is there's
How you
four
add
different
comment? Feel free to take that
options.
one, Kevin. Yeah.
There's themes, but you find it under brand. There's default, minimal, bubble. Bubble's the one I'm using, and block. And the colors are the StreamYard colors. And then it's just over the background that has been added in, which is always the background. And you can change the background. That's the really cool StreamYard one. And that's how it works. So if Christian and I were on this layout, I'm going to show Kathy's question again. It'll just put it over it. But if we go to that one, you get a little bit more depth to it too. So that's how you can do it. That's how you can do it. And then you're coming in from Facebook. So it's just pulling in your name and your picture. And if you notice, it's green and the outline is bubble. And then the question was in white with black text, which I think makes it very easy to read. I just don't think you can ever go wrong with a white background and black text. It's just easy to read.
Yeah, let me keep going through some of these comments, by the way. Let's see. Let's see. I see some question about mics, but remember, we want to try to keep these on topic. So we're talking about displaying images on your live streams.
Yeah.
So Kevin, while I'm looking through this, by the way, do you have any tips for people that have, like, if they have one monitor, for example, and they want to share some of these, share images, like, is there a good way they can split their, is there a good way for them to split up their screen?
Yeah, I mean,
any recommendations there?
I mean, that's a great idea. And maybe people need to let us know in the comments too, if you'd like to see a whole nother video on that. It's kind of a way. So like right now, my camera is just above my monitor. I have a 27-inch monitor. And so it's I kind of wish I'd gotten a bigger one, but the size I've got, 27-inch monitor. My camera is right over it. So what I do is I position my StreamYard window, which right now has Christian and me in it. I position that at the top of the screen underneath it. But then when I show other things like my Canva, I just open another tab, go to Canva in that case, and go to anything, go to Amazon, go to whatever. And then I literally just break that tab off. So it's almost kind of like I've got two now browsers open within it. And then I can resize. So I can resize my window, my main window here, my dashboard, if you will, my YouTube or my StreamYard dashboard as small as I want it. And then I also diminish the brightness so you don't see so much. You see some reflection of my glasses, but not that much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just go to screen share, and under share, what I do is I choose window. And then on window, it's all the windows I have open. So if I had 5 different windows, I could just go to those. And that way I can keep it going back and forth. And I've done that before for presentations where I've just built it and just stayed in Canva or drug it into another window. So those are some monitor hacks. You know, I like space on my desk. I don't want my desk filled up with monitors.
By the way, did you do me a favor? Did you demo doing this in Google Slides at all, or?
I did not. No.
Do you have time to do that?
We may have to do that next time. I don't have anything built.
Okay, let's see. Can we maybe open? Do you happen to have those images saved on like your desktop?
I can grab some quick.
Yeah. How about this? Let's do that. So I know we've talked a lot about Canva here. Obviously we use that as a tool of choice just because it makes it easier to share your images. There's a lot of variations on doing that. So what we're going to do real quick here is Kevin's we're going to pull up Google Slides. He's going to download a couple images. We'll basically do the same process in Google Slides for those of you who prefer to use Google Slides for sharing images.
All right. So let me, grab a couple of images quick here.
And we have and Judy, we'll take your question towards the end here. It's a bit off topic. But it's about showing videos by uploading to the brands tab. We'll demo that again, but let's show how to make this in Google Slides first.
Yeah, let me copy that. I'm just going to grab some. I can use that picture. Sure. Okay.
So while you're doing that, by the way, while you're doing this, Kevin, the images don't necessarily matter. I mean, you could even share the same image 5 times. But I do want to bring up a comment from Bling Auntie here. She said she shared PowerPoint on the fly. It was messy. So she went full screen and shared on StreamYard. So part of the issue you got going on there is inside of PowerPoint, there is a checkbox you need to uncheck. You won't go full screen. That's part of the problem there. So when you have the box checked in PowerPoint, it's going to automatically default to full screen. And so therefore it's going to take over everything you're doing. And that's obviously not what you want. So you actually would want to uncheck the box. It's going to then pop out the PowerPoint window. So I think it's under the presentation option. It's a setting in there. And so you uncheck the box, it's going to pop out the presentation. So then you'll have your StreamYard screen and your PowerPoint in another window. And then what I would do is I would basically size one and size the other to my screen. And then that way I can have everything open if I'm on a single screen. That way you'll be able to see everything that's going on versus flying blind there.
All right. So this is what Christian was talking about. This is Google Slides. I don't use it that often, but I know it's fairly easy to use. So when you go here, it's not going to have any of this. It always starts with one.
Yeah. So we'll go to File. We'll go to New Presentation.
Yeah, back here. Yeah. I always go to Google Drive and then click it, but you can also just Google Slides and you'll go right there. But right now, if you want to I'm just right clicking, adding new slide or duplicate. If you add new slide, it's going to bring in here. I'll show you. It's going to bring in some information that you don't want. All you got to do is highlight the box, hit delete, highlight the box, hit delete. Mm-hmm. But if you have something the way you want it, duplicate is probably better because it just takes those properties. So here is a picture. And again, if you notice, I drug it over just like I did in Canva. Go to the second one. Here's a picture. I can change it. I can change the sizing. I can do a lot of different things. And then here's one here. Again, nothing fancy, right? And you have options here of presenting, presenter view, present from the beginning. You can share it from here. I can download it, present to meeting. So actually that's up here under download. and then you have all these options. So if we were to present, and I think it would show, how is that going to show that? Oh, you know what? That's in a window I can't open. So this is one way you could do it. And then if I go back here, I got to click on that so you can see it. All I'm doing, they're changing, right? My monitors.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm just using the arrow on my keyboard to go back and forward. I find it's better than, the mouse does the same thing, and then you've also got your controls down here. So just like that, we just built, like that, a quick slideshow in there. And again, it doesn't have to do a slideshow. You could do one photo. You could do one image. You could do one, maybe you're doing a grand opening for something and there's, your logo of your brand new company or your webinar or whatever. You could easily do that and it would just be very easy.
Definitely. Yeah. And there's some other good comments here, by the way. I want to bring a couple of these up. So Kevin was just demonstrating Google Slides, how to basically take an image, put it into Google Slides. Again, same process like you would do for Canva, except you're using Google Slides. So we've got a couple of comments here as well, Kevin. Feel free to, let's bring you back on screen. So Going Green Mom we were talking about that PowerPoint question that Auntie Bling had. So that's a PowerPoint setting. Most people, I think, have their PowerPoints just set up to like go full screen for presentation mode. It's literally just a preference you need to uncheck. They do kind of bury that. For that, a lot of people will use Google Slides at that point because it makes it a little bit easier. So don't fear the tech. I will say that. It is literally just a checkbox and then it'll fix itself.
I would use what you're comfortable with. Again, I'm comfortable with, a lot of the Google things, but again, presentations I build in Canva just because I've gotten used to it in Canva, but you may have your own.
Yeah.
Like somebody mentioned Adobe Spark earlier, and it's been a while since I've used Adobe Spark, but that is a great program. And it used to be free. I think it's still free, but play around with it and find something. And a lot of these you can create templates, which can then save you a ton of time down the road. So you like a certain background, like the background we have here, that's a template. So if we were building this in insert graphic name of program there, you could have this and you could save a ton of time not trying to guess what you wanted your background to be all the time.
Yeah. By the way, there's another good comment here coming in from Going Green Mom. I'm going to let you take this one, actually. She says, is there a benefit to putting a background instead of just resizing an image? Can we talk about, like, first, let's talk about why you don't always want to resize an image, and then talk about the background size, the background as well.
Yeah, a lot of times it comes down to preference, but if you're uploading something that's 9:16, which is vertical, you're never going to get it to fill the screen. And so the more you zoom in on it, then you're going to lose the top and the bottom, right? There's some tricks you can use, like angling it and some things like that. A lot of times what I will do when I'm editing in Final Cut, if I have images that I can fill the screen with, and I feel like they don't lose, something important. Like if I zoomed in here, you're going to start losing some of the stuff in the background, which might be okay. Christian would be okay. But you have to think resolution. Are you zooming in so much that the image is getting blurry? Are you starting to cut off something that you don't really want to cut off? But also sometimes by taking an image and putting it on a background. So for example, I'm going to go back, and again, it may not be the best example, but if you look at, here's an example. This is not, again, I'm not suggesting somebody would create this, but this is not a good, I don't think, representation, because the background is distracting from the kid, right? So this might be one, if we were doing, again, I would zoom all the way in. So the picture of the kid with the wings is filling it, as opposed to this one, where what I did is, rather than zoom it in and filling the screen, which I could have done, I put it on a background, angled it a little. And what I think it does is it calls your attention more to the photo. And again, that can come down to a stylistic thing. But I think there are some times where resizing may cut off some of the image that you didn't want cut off. It can, if it's a small photo to begin with, resizing it is some of these programs have ways you can go in and add sharpness and things, but you got to be careful with that because it can also just make the photo just almost noisy.
Yeah,
So
and you have to be careful. Yeah, so that's so part of that's a stylistic thing, but the other thing you have to watch for is the quality of the image that you've taken. So for example, if you've taken an image and let's say it's very low resolution, when you scale it up, for example, it's going to fall apart. So if you're trying to scale it up and then you're like, you want people to look at it and the image is literally like a postage stamp, for example, and you go to, scale it up and it doesn't have the resolution, it's going to fall apart the bigger that it gets. And so you have to keep in mind, you have to remember that. So that's where like maybe the background might make more sense. Like you put a background, for example, around it so that it sort of masks the fact that your image quality may not be as good.
Yeah.
So, again, it starts with you want to take the best quality image that you possibly can and you scale it down. What a lot of people do is they take things that are lower quality and they try to scale it up. And then therefore it doesn't have the resolution to be able to support that.
And if you have a light photo, put it on a white background, it's just going to kind of get washed out. Put it on a dark background, it calls your eyes go more to that light. So that's something to play around with. Aussie K-pop mom is saying that what she will do with verticals is put them in the middle, duplicate it on the side with a big blur effect. That's a great effect.
Yeah.
There's actually plugins in Final Cut that will do that for you too. But yeah, that's a cool effect that will call your attention to the image. And that's ultimately what you want to do. And a lot of it has to be, especially if you're talking about photos, how the original photo was shot. I mean, if it was shot more, in 16:9 in landscape, you've got a lot more option of filling the canvas, if you will. Not Canva, filling the canvas.
Yeah. No, excellent point. Yeah. And I like Rebel Meddler's comment here. It's best to work with, as we mentioned, it's best to work with a program that that you're comfortable with, bring it into StreamYard to use it in your video and so forth. Yeah. So start with what you're comfortable with. So for example, most of us probably started out with PowerPoint, Apple Keynote, for example, is the alternative there. And then we moved into a lot of online editors. So just kind of keep that in mind. And, those online editors include Google Slides, Canva, Easel. Like you can basically, any graphic design program, you drop your image in, you create essentially a 16:9 image rectangle, and then you bring that into your StreamYard broadcast.
And I'll throw this one up, and we'll probably need to wrap up here. But great stuff, guys. As Stephanie saying, you can put your Canva image into a remove background app or site as a free workaround. That is true. The paid version of Canva also has a background remover that they added.
It's the same tool, by the way.
It's good. It is so good. It is so good. And I've removed a background of an image the other day for my YouTube channel, and there was one little piece it didn't remove, so I just added an element to cover that up that looks more like a design element. But no, that background remover is sweet. So if you have Canva and you have the paid plan, it's already built in. Very simple. But like Steph is saying, is that you could take that into another background and remove it. I personally like to do as much in a program as possible without having to program hop. Sometimes you have to.
Very cool. Do we have any other comments coming in from our viewers? By the way, you covered both the questions, right, that we had?
I did.
Okay.
I hope so.
Very cool. Yeah, we had two people. We had questions from, I think it was Steven, and I think was it Michael, I think? Had a couple of questions that came in from them. Let's see. Very cool. I'm just reading you guys' comments. Rebel Meddler, absolutely, totally welcome. We're more than happy to do this. Like, we want you to ask us questions. By the way, how do they ask us questions, Kevin?
If you have a question that you would like answered on Ask StreamYard and you think, hey, I think this is like t-shirt worthy, what you want to use is hashtag Ask StreamYard, like right there on the screen in that green bubble. Just use hashtag Ask StreamYard. Ask your question. on the Facebook community, on the public page, Twitter, wherever you social media at, if that's a thing. I just made it a verb, I guess. But wherever, all you got to do is, and those are questions that we're looking through all the time. And this week we had a couple of questions that were kind of about the same thing. So we combined them. I think one of the last shows we did that as well. And that's all you got to do. And in the meantime, you don't have to wait for that. Anytime you have a question, you can just always ask in the comments on social media and not have to wait for that. The Facebook group is right there. It is a fantastic face group. You don't have to have StreamYard to join it. But I mean, why would you do that? I mean, why, go ahead and get StreamYard, join it. You're going to get more out of it. And by the way, Christian, we didn't say this. If you got value from this, consider subscribing too, because we do not only just the live streams on the channel, but there's a lot of videos on here to help you do more with live streaming and really get the most out of StreamYard, which is the absolute easiest way to live stream and record.
Definitely. Yeah. Let me see if I think we got one more comment here, by the way. Actually, we got two of them real quick. So Bajrokonto Press Club is asking if comments shown on screen, the host and guest name is not shown. Can we move up slightly to show host and guest names along with comments when shown on screen? There is an option actually in Cam Mic settings. So if they go into Cam Mic settings, there is a checkbox under general that will say shift video up for comments and banners. So that's how easy that one is.
That's a good feature.
It is, yes. Going Green Mom saying, thanks for doing this. Love the deeper dive. Hopefully see Friday. Yeah, you'll see me on Friday. You'll see Kevin in 2 weeks, I think, right, Kevin?
Yes, I'll be back in 2 weeks. It takes a lot to do the hair. I have to like rest
and with that, yes.
Yeah, Melanie will be here next week.
Darren wants to know what filter makes you so happy.
Must be talking about you.
This is talking to Kevin, by the way, not totally talking to Kevin.
Talking about you. Dimebag. I don't know. It's whiskey. No. I'm using a Canon M50 Mark II. I've got a Sigma 16 millimeter lens. There is no filter. I do have it. This is now we're doing a little tech dive here. I have my white balance set at 5600K, and I have a light right here that is also set to 5600K. And that's it. Background light is just, I've got a little lamp there I got off Amazon for like nothing with a blue light in it. That way it just gives that. So yeah, no filter at all. Now, Christian, on the other hand, I mean, he's shooting with like a $50,000 camera.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Crew. He does makeup before the show.
No, basically, no filters on. No, Kevin, I got to say, I like your choice of lighting for this week. It coincides nicely with the background, with our purple background we're using for Ask StreamYard. So very cool. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to let Kevin wrap things up, but I will see you all hopefully on Friday for Learn with StreamYard. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin. Thanks a lot, by the way, for tuning in to this episode on what's the best way to display images when live. Remember, if you have any questions, you can also just leave them in the comments here, and we will do our best to get back to those. But Kevin, turn it back over to you. Thanks.
Thanks for joining me. I really hope you guys got a lot of value out of this. I know there was a ton of great questions and comments as well too. I thought that was phenomenal. And again, the idea is to play, try different things. Canva was mentioned a lot. I use Canva. You may have your own program that you want to use. There's so many different ways of sharing tabs, sharing windows, dropping it back in. That's why StreamYard makes it so easy. I do hope that you consider subscribing and liking and sharing this if you got value. And if you have a question ever you want featured on Ask StreamYard, maybe it's t-shirt worthy, use hashtag Ask StreamYard. Melanie will be here next week. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace out.